we are going to discuss the most crucial development after the World War II, that is the establishment of United Nations, famously known as UN, United Nations, UN. The United Nations flag will be having a world map supported by the olive branches with a blue color shade, and this was started on 24th of October 1945. The main issue or the main guiding principle of UN formation was the lasting peace and the human development. Earlier, the world people have seen two devastating wars. In order to that in future no war should be escalated and no further prevention of the wars or prevention of the conflicts, we should have an organization to preserve the peace in the world and at the same time to bring a sustainable human development with which the wars could be subsided and development could take over the entire human life settings. So initially when the UN Charter was signed at San Francisco, we have 54 member nations, and today as per the statistics available of 2014, we have 193 countries as the member nations of UNO. What is the main purpose that the UNO has been done? The main purpose has already been discussed, that is the lasting peace and the human development. What are the other works that UNO is going to do? The other works what UNO is going to do is that maintain peace in the entire scenario. Wherever there is any trouble for peace, the UNO would be ready to offer her office and try to solve the issue peacefully. And the security to all the nations, security in order to the poor nations or the weaker nations where they were interested or may get an aggression from a very strong nation. At that time UN will stand in supporting to the poor nation or the weak nation or the developing nation, whichever needs the support at that moment of time. And in order to maintain the health of all the individuals, it has various other organizations. We shall discuss about the organizations. And then we have anti-poverty programs given against to eradicate the poverty in the developing countries, especially in the countries of Asia and Africa, which are once upon a time the colonial countries, which need to be eradicated the poverty at any cost of time in order to bring development and create awareness for the people about their importance of the life. So UNO has working hard in order to build all these things. Let us see the organizational setup of UNO. We have 6 main organizations of UNO or wings of UNO, popularly known as General Assembly. The General Assembly acts as the world parliament. All the member nations will have their representations in the General Assembly, and it gathers for every year in the month of December. And we consider this as a world parliament because almost all the nations have their representation in the General Assembly. And moving on to the Security Council. Security Council is also known as the mind of the region or the master of the community of the entire General Assembly, because in this Security Council we have a total of 15 members, out of which 10 are non-permanent members and 5 are the permanent members. The Security Council is the key members or the key status like a super cabinet which takes the decisions of the UN in final and it will be executed by the UN. The Security Council is having 15 members, in which 5 members are the permanent countries like USA, UK, USSR, Britain and France, or UK is also known as Britain, so we can consider China here. So we have 2 communist countries and 3 democratic countries as the key members or the veto power nations, because the veto power status itself, it means that there are some special importance for the countries to say on it. If UNO passes any decision, that decision can be revoked, stopped or again reinitiated using the veto power of a particular nation. This power is entrusted for the 5 permanent country nations, and 10 are the non-permanent members which will be changing for every 2 years. They are elected by the General Assembly members in the term of their assembly sessions conducted every year. And moving on to the other organizations, these other organizations are working for the development of security, health and anti-poverty programs. UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organizations. In this sphere, the entire education, UNO tries to provide education for the poor people, scientific and the cultural advancements wherever it is not reaching in the African nations or in the Asian nations. UNO will try to provide the fund and bring the education reachable to the common man through UNESCO. And UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency fund or the educational fund in order to make the children, the children are the most important part of the world right now, because they are going to be the future generations of people. So if you make the children healthy, automatically the entire world will be healthy. This is the concept of UNICEF in bringing this UNICEF of the child awareness programs. And again we have World Health Organization working out on all the health issues wherever, like smallpox, like malaria, mumps, any diseases which are eradicated by the support of the World Health Organization. In India we have the polio awareness programs, like polio drops given for 0 to 5 years of age of babies, as also initiated by the WHO. In this way WHO provides support for the health issues in the entire nation. And moving on to the last part, that is FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization, which makes it ensure that food is reachable to all the people, and the agricultural developments will be appropriated to the necessity required, so that the food can be produced, the crops can be produced whichever is required for them, so the entire nation can get sufficient amount of food. These are the various organs working for the UNO in order to maintain peace, as well as in order to eradicate poverty from the world and to maintain the world a very healthy one. But coming into reality, is these all programs successful? Yes. Leaving apart the political decisions taken by UNO, because the veto power nations sometimes would be involved in the allegations which are against the weaker nations, so they are using their veto power to stop any action which is initiated by UN. But leaving apart that one, remaining all the health issues, or in order to maintain peace and security, the UNO is trying its level best and is far extent to successful, because in one simple word we can say, as we have never seen a third world war, so we can say conclude successfully that UNO is working very successfully, and at the same point of time UNO is having very limited say when it compares to the veto power nations to act against them. So this is one negative point which is in the existence right now. Hopefully very soon UN could come up with the existence of controlling the veto power nations also to a reasonable extent. What happened next? What are the major changes that were brought in the Cold War era? What is a Cold War era? What are the nations that are influenced by the Cold War era? We will discuss now.